All right, that was tight, right? Okay, cool. I'm not going to hold y'all up anymore, so let's give it up for prolific comic book creator, writer, producer, and CEO of Skybound Games, Robert Kirkman, CEO, David Alpert, CEO of Skybound North, Catherine Winder, and CEO of Skybound Games, Ian Howe. How y'all doing? Yes. Oh, have you ever seen so many happy Sharknado fans?
Hello, everybody. Sharknado boo.
Oh, man. So one of the things I really like about Skybound Game, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is that you're very creator-focused, and I feel like there isn't enough of that. I mean, now that we're seeing so many comic book properties get made into movies over and over, and giving creators just ownership of their brand, I think, is an amazing idea. Like, what's that all about?
Well, I have to, think somewhat self-servingly that the success of The Walking Dead is somewhat attributable to the fact that I was, kept involved in the process at every step of the way. So, even things like, casting and things like that very early on, I had a hand in that and was invited into that process. And I think that while I'm not a television director or a novelist or a person who makes video games, no one knows The Walking Dead better than me. So at each point when we sat down to make those things, I was brought in to give my ideas and my thoughts on the direction that we were going to be going in. And I think that puts a special little secret ingredient in everything within the Walking Dead universe that gives it another extra level of authenticity and something that I think fans recognize when they see the products. And so we've kind of built Skybound around that philosophy of building systems around the creators to allow them to have a hand in all iterations of their properties. And so far it's working out great.
Yeah, DA was telling me about this cool wine bottle story where they were trying to figure out with Michonne. And do you want to talk about that a bit, DA? I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, it's just, it's
the wine bottle story.
Well, it's a wine. But I don't know if you know, but we have the Walking Dead wine. It's awesome. It's actually selling great. So and it's delicious. But
please drink responsibly.
Yes. Indeed. But one of the things we were looking at is we had a whole group of people trying to figure out this one thing on one of the labels wasn't working. It just didn't sit well with anybody, and we were going through it, and they had their agency involved, and there's designers, and there's a group of 10 people on the phone, couldn't figure it out. And I go, Robert, would you just take a look at this? And he's like, oh yeah, her leg's off by a quarter inch. Just change that leg. And everyone's like, yeah, that'll do it. And 2 seconds later, we had a redone design, and it was perfect, and it was one of those things where literally 10 people that had expert skill couldn't figure it out, but because Robert lives in that world, we felt like that's the power of having the creator at the center of the business.
Yeah. And it seems like y'all have the game locked on TV. I mean, you have quite a few new and returning franchises as well. Mm-hmm. What's going on with those stuff too?
Other stuff? Well, we got big news, I think, today. We've got Outcast Season 2. That'll be finally airing. I believe it is, what is this, 4 hours from now?
4 hours.
Tonight at 10 p.m. on Cinemax. So leave the con and rush home. But be back here tomorrow. But yeah, so it's great to have that back on the air. And other things, I flubbed a little bit during an interview earlier. You guys might have seen it on the internet, so I'm not talking about anything else.
No one was paying attention.
No, it's fine.
It's
fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, you also have.
What else am I clear to talk about?
That's what you're supposed to say.
Can we talk about that cool animated thing that y'all might be working about? I don't know.
Oh yeah, what was that? It seemed like there was a snippet of animated Super Dinosaur in that big trailer, but that's weird.
Yeah, well, there's Super Dinosaur, which was one of your properties, and Jason Howard, who's out here somewhere, incredible creator. And then there's another small property that we're working on in animation that called
a thing called Invincible that we're doing with Amazon. Yeah, very excited about that. We've got Justin and Chris Copeland directing, and we've got Simon Rapioka as our head writer and showrunner. So yeah, it's going to be really great. I wrote the pilot, and so very excited about the journey we're going to be taking you on. And unlike most animated stuff, this is going to be like a hour-long drama. So it'll be, you know, like any cable drama that you enjoy, like say The Walking Dead or whatever. It just happens to be animated. So it's going to be really cool, which will allow us to do more on television with a superhero story than I think anyone has ever done. So if you enjoy those, you know, DC shows and Marvel shows, they're super great. But the scale and scope of what we're going to be able to do in Invincible is going to dwarf their capabilities. I'm very happy to tease.
Yeah, we can't say much, but we just have an awesome creative team, as you mentioned, and the look that we're going for is extraordinary. We're very, very excited about it. What an awesome show to start off with.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it, but also I'm excited about a few comics that you've dropped recently. First off, you had Oblivion Song, which we kind of saw coming. You were kind of promoting that for a bit, then it dropped in March. Was amazing. I love it. I'm hooked.
Tell me more.
Book. Yeah. You know, it's just like hopping in between worlds and then that big wall. I was like, it takes you back.
It's been great to get to work with Lorenzo De Felici, who is Italian and is a real. It's very important, you know, the nationality. I get to go visit him and eat pizza all day long. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, he's a real superstar in Italy, and being able to bring him over here and work very closely with him on that book has been awesome.
Yeah, but we saw Oblivion Song coming. What we didn't see coming was Die, 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 because you want to be the Beyonce of comic books, which I was describing you as before that happened.
Real popular with the Beyonce. But yeah, I wanted to bring surprise back to the comic shops. When I was a kid, going into the comic shop was a place of discovery. You would walk in and you would see the new comic shelf in the distance, and all those squares would kind of come into focus as you walked closer and closer, and you try to figure out like, oh, what's that I'm looking at, and what's that, and oh, that's a new cover on this book, and I've never heard of that book, and to be able to stand in front of this wall of new comics and discover the artists and the stories and the characters in the moment is something that I think has been lost because of the age of the internet and, you know, 7 months or 4 years of promotion before a book actually comes out and you know what the story is. And, you know, I wanted to bring that back. I wanted people to be able to go into the store on Wednesday and go, oh my God, Robert Kirkman, Chris Burnham, Scott Gimple, Nathan Fairburn, they're doing this book that I've never heard of, and it's like in my hands now? This is crazy. And if you missed it, it's still in stores, so please check it out. But it's a cool espionage book that's, you know, very violent. So if you're a kid in the audience, just don't let your parents know and, you know, sneak it. Super inappropriate though, so don't tell anyone I said that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Can I actually just double in
more
there?
stuff like that? No, please go ahead.
So like you kept, I mean, this is a pretty huge thing. So just having seen it from the inside, I mean, so you went to enormous lengths to keep this a secret, right? So did the retailers even know that they were getting a book called Die, Die, Die?
No, retailers learned about it when they opened their boxes.
So just like it just showed up in their stores.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
Secret launch.
Yeah, there's one more comic I want to talk about, which is basically my favorite title to say. So I'm gonna Murder Falcon. Yeah. So
Wait, what was the title?
Murder Falcon. I'm gonna do it every time.
No, it's great. Daniel Warren Johnson just did a series called Extremity for us that recently wrapped up. He's a writer and an artist, and is, you know, extremely talented in both of those, you know, art forms. And so he's coming back with a new book called, what's it called?
Murder Falcon.
Yeah, and it's
better every time.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. All right. So, you know, one of Skybound's biggest missions has been, you know, surrounding a quality IP, and Walking Dead obviously is a clear example of that. So, why are you focusing on franchise building and different things like that? Why do you feel that works for you?
I mean, it's the new things that excite me, and being able to come up with new ideas, work with new collaborators to, you know, expand what I'm doing, energizes me so that when I go back onto Walking Dead, you know, whether I've spent a day away from it or a week or two, it's never really that long. You know, I'm, you know, then Walking Dead is new to me, and I'm excited about that, and it kind of keeps this whole house of cards of my life going by being able to like add new cards to the deck and, you know, keep building this thing that is much more structurally sound than a house of cards. That was a bad thing, but yeah, I mean it's something that, you know, it's really important to me to come up with new stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels like you cover everything because you got comics, you got TV, and you also have tabletop as well. Which you know, I was really excited about Pitch Storm. I was in that video. Y'all didn't see me, but I was in that video, and it's a super fun concept because it reflects actually pitching in real life.
Which is always fun.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things for us, though, is really about, when we look at, you know, people talk about making franchises and derivative works, and that's a term that I particularly hate because it makes it feel like if you're playing a game, it's sort of like it's derivative of the thing, of this movie. And we kind of look at our business more as a wheel, so as opposed to like a pyramid, because everything is sort of primary. Most people are consuming, they still consume comics and books, film and television all on an iPad or some sort of device. So like the idea that, oh, I'm gonna go watch this thing first and then watch this thing and wait 3 months for that, like that's all sort of going away. The notion being that you want to, when you encounter something from Skybound, you wanna know that that's at the same level as the other thing you encounter from Skybound. So we wanna make sure that the film is great, the TV show is great, that the comic book is great. All those things have sort of equal priority for us. We're not looking to say, hey, give you a book and the book's no good, because then you might not come back. And what we've seen with The Walking Dead is that some people, you know, and best people, they think that the comic is the best and most original form of that, and that's their favorite thing. But some people love the Telltale game, and some people love Road to Survival, and some people love all the novels. And like, so you can love any one of those things. We just want to make sure we're delivering a great experience in any one of those particular areas.
Nice, nice, nice. You know, but we didn't just stop at tabletop games. We're talking about games, video games. So you know, we got the Skybound. You have the video game division now with Ian Howe. Do you have any idea like what you're going to be? I mean, you do have an idea what you're going to be doing, but can you tell me? Can you tell all of us what your plan with the division? Are there any games that got you super excited?
I think the key thing is every game we have to be excited about. Me and my team have to be excited about, because if we're not excited about it, then nobody else is going to be excited about it. So we're really on a mission to do in the games business what Skybound has been doing in other forms of media for many years. And I've long talked about the need in the game space for creators to be really more involved in everything that happens with their product. And all too often, the creative visionary who's come up with the original concept is kind of lost in the mix. You know, when it comes to simple things like the messaging about the game, what is the heart of the game? And I've grown increasingly frustrated with that approach in the game space. So when the opportunity came up to work with these fine people at Skybound to create something new, a new style of games publisher, it felt like the perfect home, because it's exactly what I've been talking about. So our entire lineup is going to be from the best-in-class independent development talent from around the world. And the goal really is to put them at the center of everything that we do, and create games in a different way, and be rather than kind of come in and take over everything, is actually come in and be a resource for those creators. Help them grow their games, help them make them better, help them reach a wider audience. So everything we're doing is really focused on that. The first two things we have coming are, on September the 4th this year, we have Slime Rancher, which is from a developer in the Bay Area called Monomi Park. And the second one is The Long Dark from a Canadian developer called Hinterland. I was first and foremost a fan of both of those games. That was the first thing. And they've already been released digitally, so they're available on various different digital platforms. But they've never been available at physical retail, so you can't go to Walmart and buy them, you can't go to GameStop and buy them. And that felt like a missed opportunity to me. It felt like it was missing. Certain people don't want to download games, they still want something tactile. I know I still want that tactile thing. So we're going to help those developers bring those games to retail on September the 4th. They'll be our very first releases.
Oh man, that's super exciting. And actually, I think that comes in a good time in games, like a company model like Skybound. I feel like games are having small indie developers being eat up by huge conglomerates and then kind of just stretched out for what they're worth and not being that good anymore. So I'm really excited to see the Skybound model in games. I'm also excited for Overkill, Overkill's Walking Dead game. And you got Skullgirls too, right?
Yeah, this is something that we announced at Anime Expo a couple of weeks ago, but it's a game that I've been a fan of for many, many, many years. So this one's a bit of a labor of love for me. And I was able, thankfully, to go and speak to the original creators, and we're going to be bringing the game to Nintendo Switch, and it's going to be coming out this year. So that's something I'm super excited about to play. So again, if we get excited about it, we hope you guys are going to get excited about it. So really proud to be working on that franchise, and again, hopefully we can help those guys take it to another level.
Oh, man. And for the Skybound World Takeover, we didn't stop at video games. We didn't stop at tabletop games. We went books, too. You guys have a partnership with Simon & Schuster last year, and you announced, actually, oh, sorry, I was reading your body language, and I thought you told me to stop. Look, I'm afraid of leaking stuff. I'm a big leaker. But yeah, no, with Simon & Schuster books, and we have the Quotable Negan books coming out that are super exciting. I will say Negan is one of my favorite characters that you've written because he does have those lines. All right, I see we got some Negan heads.
Any Negan fans? Wasn't it cool when he killed Glenn and Abraham in the show? Didn't you guys hate those characters? Don't you not miss them?
Oh man, yeah, there was an
fun.
audible gasp when it was in the reel. Everyone was like, "Oh." Yeah.
You know, it's good to surprise people with that imagery, often.
All right.
So anyway, Quotable Negan.
Yeah, actually, I heard we got some Negans up in the audience, and
We got Negans up in the
yeah,
audience?
yeah, they're about to step up to the plate and show their stuff. Show us what you got.
Let's see Negans.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
here we have Negans.
All right.
Supposed to be doing this now?
No.
Oh, they're pointing at me. It's scary. All right.
I'm really scared now.
So we're gonna pick our favorite Negan out of all these Negans. Oh man.
Does this feel like a scene from The
Okay.
Godfather?
So hard to decide.
Yeah.
I do not like this position I'm in right now.
It is a little intimidating to have this many Negans behind. So, great. Does anybody have anything you want to say to sway the audience?
Yeah.
Or any
Do you have a quote?
Get your nutsack in a bind, people.
Okay, not that guy.
I'd say this kind of shit just tickles my beach ball size lady nuts, okay?
Oh, okay. I like that.
I'll go Fashion Negan. How about Fashion Negan? That's the winner. Great. Big round of applause for Fashion Negan.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We got a signed Quotable Negan here as a prize. You want to grab that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And thank you.
And then we actually have two of them.
Ooh, who's the next
So
one?
I go to the.
Yeah. So you guys can fight over this one. Here, take it. You over here.
She said lady nuts, so.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good quote. All right, Negans, get off the stage.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Negans.
It was a good try.
It was jarring seeing all of them stand up at the same time. I was like, oh, is Iffy getting jumped again?
So should we? I think there was also we had a Overkill trailer.
Ooh.
My.
I think we have a trailer. Is anybody interested in seeing a trailer?
I think we should show that. Yeah.
Let's do that.
And let's get hype and let's see that Overkill trailer.
So that's coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited about. Overkill's The Walking Dead. Something else I'm really excited about. We've actually partnered with a company called Come To Us to do some really exciting things with Summoner's War, a very popular game that we all love. Catherine, what do we got coming up for Summoner's War?
Well, Summoner's War is one of those properties we put in the middle of our Wheel of Awesome.
The Wheel of Awesome. That sounds amazing. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, it's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Come To Us has a game called Summoner's War. It's got 80 million global downloads, 1 million daily players around the world. It's huge. And they came to us and said, listen, we've seen what you've done with The Walking Dead. We want to take our franchise and build it out in a big way from being a game into a narrative content. And can you help us? And they had so many of the same values as us in terms of fans first, putting the creator at the center and really driving and controlling where the narrative went. And so we're working with them on all sorts of content, including online shows that we've got on Skybound Games and our YouTube channel. They're here at the convention. You should go down and check out their activation. It's awesome. We're doing an animated show that we're developing, comic books, and a whole bunch more. And it's been a really fun opportunity to work with these guys.
But Catherine, let's say I'm a fan of Summoner's War and I wanted something collectible from it. Is there an opportunity somewhere at like a convention to buy an action figure of some sort?
Yes, DA. There just may be.
Really?
Maybe at the Skybound booth.
The Skybound booth. Wonderful.
Yeah, so I recommend you go check it out. They're limited, they're going fast, and they're really incredible. Yeah.
That's news I could use.
Yeah, good. You might even, if you're nice, you might get one.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, no, those are all super duper exciting, especially Overkill. I'm gonna just gush about Overkill just for a quick second. If you're unfamiliar with Overkill, they made the games Payday 1 and 2, and what makes me excited for them to cover a Walking Dead game is they don't handle first-person shooters the same way everyone else does. They make them strategic and slow pace, which in the Walking Dead universe world makes a lot of sense. So November 6th, I'll definitely be online playing it. Will you play with me and make me angry? We'll find out.
Yeah, we've always been hesitant, actually, to get into the first-person shooter space with The Walking Dead because, you know, zombies and first-person shooters are, you know, they're all over the place. And so Overkill was really the perfect partner that we thought could bring something new to the space and really, you know, give Walking Dead the attention that it deserves. And it's going to be an amazing game that you guys are going to really love.
Oh, I'm super excited. I know there's a lot of excited people out here, though, and they probably got lots of questions. So we'll open it up to some Q&A. You know, one question, please, so enough people can ask, and you can ask all these people up here all the questions that you've had sitting there wishing I shut up so we can get to this part. I've been in your position. I know what it's all about.
All right.
Oh.
You guys want to, is there a microphone?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right here. If you guys can line up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one will be able to hear you. And then we can't answer your question, which would be bad. Yeah. Wouldn't it be terrible?
We don't want terrible. We want
Definitely
great.
not.
Awesome.
I think the mic's broken or something. It's fine.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome to the Skybound panel. You having a good time?
So I'm Danielle Dawson,
All right.
and I'm a writer and director.
You're hired.
And Robert Kirkman is a god and a legend, and we should all worship him. That's all I'm saying. And
Here, I got it right here. Hold on.
I love the way that you kill people, and
Fictional people. No one knows about the other ones.
Of course. So, like, as a writer, like, what is your inspiration? Like, I also read the graphic novel, and it's just phenomenal, obviously.
Thank you very much.
And, like, what is your inspiration? Like, how do you, like, think of these things?
I don't know. I mean, you know, when it comes to The Walking Dead, I can't talk about the inspiration for The Walking Dead without mentioning George Romero about 30 times. That original trilogy of Night. I'm talking! Talking! But the original trilogy of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead is, you know, the pinnacle of zombie fiction. If anyone out there who is a Walking Dead fan has not seen those movies, or Land of the Dead or Diary of the Dead, what are you doing? You got to get out there and watch this stuff. You don't know zombies until you've seen this stuff. It's you know, definitely for me, life-changing. You know, they're great stories. But, you know, I always wanted to see something that lasted a long time and didn't end like those movies do. So there you go, Walking Dead. But I don't know, as far as killing people, I mean, I'm just trying to make things as interesting as possible. And when you try to do a story that's going to last for decades and decades, you know, you kind of have to make sure that it's going to be interesting and that there's going to be a progression of things. And so you have to have interesting ways to kill people to keep things, you know, new and different as the story progresses. And so I put a lot of work into trying to think of new things to do to characters and new ways of killing people. I think that if the FBI were paying attention to my search results, they would, you know, they probably are, and I'm probably being monitored right now. But yeah, so I don't know. It's something I put a lot of effort into.
I've been working with Robert for a long time, and
Too long.
I was going to setting you up there. But one of the things I would say is he's actually sort of like a very sort of even-keeled family man, and loves his wife and kids, and it's really impressive. And I'm sort of like, oh, he takes all his anger and frustrations and kills people on the page, and then he's sort of like relaxed. So it's
very cathartic.
If he ever talks about stopping writing, we get really, really worried.
Yeah, because there is a darkness in me that will come out in other ways.
Please don't kill the people that we love.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. Your family is safe.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Joseph, huge fan.
Joseph.
So one thing I want to ask you, Robert, is that between Walking Dead, Oblivion Song, Outcast, you were writing Thief of Thieves for a while, and now Die, Die, Die. How are you as a writer able to juggle so many of these stories and plot lines and, you know, not have any of them suck? Because you always deliver consistent, you always have great quality of writing.
We should do more panels like this. This is nice. No, I don't know. I mean, you know, one of the best ways to avoid writer's block for me is to have a lot of things going on at the same time. And so, you know, I sit down to work on Walking Dead and I hit a wall and I just pop over to Oblivion Song and I work on Oblivion Song for a while until I hit a wall and then I pop over to something else. And as I'm doing this process of moving from project to project, I'll start coming up with the ideas I needed to on Walking Dead. Whereas, you know, if you've tried writing, you know, sometimes you just feel the urge to just sit there and, okay, it's going to come to me. I just got to wait, you know, I just got to keep thinking, I got to keep going over. I just, you know, if I hit any kind of stumbling block, I just go, okay, time to walk away. Like, I don't spend any time whatsoever trying to work out the problems that come up, because they kind of work themselves out. And I think by filling the gaps with other projects, it, you know, allows me to do a lot more stuff. But as far as keeping it all, you know, straight, and yeah, sometimes I don't know, I'm not that great at that. But yeah, and you know, I'm not really great on panels sometimes. I mumble because I'm thinking about stories in my head, and you know, my wife often catches me drifting off and looking into the distance while she's telling me about her day, and that's because I'm...
And you're thinking about killing somebody?
Yeah, it's because I'm like working out like, well, if I cut his nose off, that's going to look really cool, and then I could have them send the nose in a box to their employer, and yeah, and then she's like, "What are you thinking about?" And I'm like, "Nothing, honey. It's all normal up here." So yeah, that's my life.
And you use that one.
Yeah, that's in the first issue of Die, 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 available now.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Christina, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the VR we just saw in the video beforehand. In particular, Delusions Lies Within.
Yeah, good VR fan. Yeah, I like that. So we're really excited about VR. Really, just feels like it's a great way to sort of just push some boundaries and try to explore some areas that we haven't really seen before. So Delusion is this interactive theatrical experience that takes place in downtown LA.
I'm familiar.
Oh, you feel, okay, great. So we went to it, and you know, sort of people had been talking about it, and we went, and we were just blown away, because it's, I mean, for those of you who don't know, it's an amazing thing. It takes place in LA. You guys got to go check it out. It's this, but it's like a play, but you're sort of being led through, and my wife was sort of like kidnapped by vampires and put in a coffin, and I kind of find her by the end, and it was like, I was going crazy. So we saw that, we thought it was really great, and we're like, it's a perfect thing for VR, right? So that you can actually experience it the way that you would when you're walking through it. So you're walking through this room in you know, downtown LA, and you know, an actor comes out behind you and starts interacting with you. And so the great thing about VR is you don't know where things might be, right? So normally when you watch film and television, you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be looking because the camera's pointed that way. But being in 360 and knowing that anything can come out anywhere, it really sort of lends itself to horror. It really lends itself to scare and surprise. So working with John Braver and the whole team over there was really amazing for us. So we're excited for you guys to check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my question's for Mr. Kirkman. I was wondering, because both Lydia and Sophia in the comics really like Carl, will there ever be a chick fight between them? Because that would be pretty cool.
Well, when sweeps month comes, maybe there's some things coming up involving those characters in upcoming issues that I don't know if it'll necessarily get to a chick fight, but there will be some conflict between them.
Are you looking for a chick fight? Is that?
But there's so many weapons around, it could be really cool.
That's true. That's true.
Nice.
What if they like accidentally stabbed each other in the neck at the exact same time?
This is good.
I like this. This is going well.
I think that was a great question. That's the question of the day.
Yeah, we like.
We've got an up-and-coming writer.
Yeah.
All right, Rosita, go.
Hi, my name's Dana, and my question is for Robert.
Oh.
I was wondering, where did you get all the idea for writing the quotable Negan and all the inspiration behind that?
Well, I mean, you know, everybody loves Negan, and their favorite thing about Negan is all the weird stuff that he says, all the offensive things that he says. And so, you know, collecting that into a handy-dandy book where you can actually just kind of flip through and read all of the insane things, I thought would be really cool. Mike Braff is running our book department at Skybound, and you know, he helped us put that book together, and you know, I thought it was really cool. It turned out great. Andres Juarez designed it. It's a spectacular little package, and you don't have to flip through. I think Negan's now been in like 80 issues of the comics. You don't have to flip through those 80 issues of comics. You can get pretty much every cool thing that he said all in one book. So
I also think you get. I always felt that reading Negan's quotes was sort of a real insight into Robert's soul. So if you want to get to know Robert better, you should read the quotable Negan.
It's really not. I swear there's only like 5 or 6 quotes of his that are things that I would say in real life all the time before Negan was on TV saying them, and it got weird.
Thank you.
Hey, my question is also for Robert. In Invincible, characters die and come back way later in very comic booky, kind of almost satire ways.
Sure.
How much of that is planned ahead of time? How much of that is like, oh, it'd be cool to bring this character back in this volume. Let me do that.
I mean, it depends on a case-by-case basis. A lot of times it seems like, oh my God, he planned like 60 issues ahead of time for this to happen and then for this to come back. A lot of times I planned for that to happen 5 issues later, but then I never got around to it. And so it seems like, oh my gosh, he had such a long plan. And it's like, no, I just messed up. So that part's cool. When it comes to like the Darkwing moment in the very last issue, I was trying to come up with some kind of like cool punch for that scene. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be neat if, you know, Darkwing was lost in this dimension in issue 60, now that we're at issue 144, like like people would think I was a genius if he like suddenly came back, and it seemed like I had planned it the whole time, but that was really like on the fly as I was writing the scene, like, how do I make this better? Oh, this dumb thing. And then people are like, ooh, a lot of planning. So sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's not. And the fact that, you know, if I'm doing my job right, you can't tell which is which.
I can't tell, so.
Great.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Robert, again. It was
Hello.
Ursula. We met on Wednesday.
Great to see you again. How
Great
you
to
been?
see you. Great
Kids
to see
doing
you.
okay?
Yeah, everybody's
Great.
good. Everybody's
Fantastic.
great.
Having a good time at the show?
Great.
Did you
great.
buy anything cool?
Um,
Any cool Transformers toys or anything?
no, a couple cool things.
All right. All right. Did you get that Summoners War thing?
No.
It's available now.
Yeah, you got to get that.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, I'm excited for the video game, but I actually have a 2-parter, and if you can answer it, I feel like I'm sinking.
Yeah.
It's a 2-parter. So when you mentioned earlier, right now, about how you're invested so much in the Walking Dead show, which we love.
Yeah.
This is going to be about Carl, so.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, in general, like the direction that it did go on the show, like how comfortable you felt with that. But then, in addition,
So
now,
comfortable.
But now that you're writing about him still, and he's still very present in the comics, how? I guess my question is kind of like, how do you, like, do you ever stop back and think about the show, and then come back and write more about him, or do you like? Is there any conflict in that, like, kind of separating the two?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no conflict. I mean, I see them as two different things. I think that Carl's story was one thing in the television show, and it went a certain way, and I, agreed with that decision, and I thought that it, would lead to cool things, and it has. And when you see season 9, you'll see why losing Carl was an important catalyst that led to a lot of really big things in the show. As much as we all miss Chandler Riggs, and may question the decisions that get made. There is a lot of thought and a lot of work that goes into that. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to do less Carl stories in the comic or that it alters anything at all. I mean, I'm a firm believer that, the comic book existing on its own is the reason the show exists. And so if anything were to change because of the show, I would, be screwing everything up. It would ruin everything. And so I try to ignore the fact that that exists. But, moving forward, I think that, we lost Andrea in season 3 of the show, but Andrea went on in the comics for many, many years and led to some very huge storylines, and I think it's going to be, pretty much the same thing. I mean, we're going to see Carl doing a lot in the comics, but he is no longer present in the show, and that's fine.
Spoiler alert.
I just want to say one of my favorite moments of being on set with Robert was early on, maybe like season 2 or 3, we were on set, and he starts looking around, just going like this and looking around.
Don't tell this story.
Tell it. And I go, Robert, like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm just thinking, I killed you, I killed you, I killed you, I killed you, and all the different characters that were already dead in the comic.
I found myself surrounded by dead characters.
Well, we will always follow you, but yeah, I was definitely wanting to know that. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hello there. Invincible has been my all-time favorite comic book, so hearing about the TV show and movie was amazing.
Great.
How are we going to go and balance the difference between the movie and the TV show? Is one to be more dramatic than the other? Because Seth Rogen's going to be more comedic for the movie than the TV show would be? How is that going to all work out?
It's a little early to get into the specifics of that. One will be a cartoon, one will have real people. But there will be, huge differences in the way that the material is adapted. There will be huge differences in the way that it's handled, the tone and things like that. I definitely wouldn't say that one is more comedic or one is more violent or more serious. I think that Invincible as a property, if I could sound like a cold, emotionless robot, as a story, exists at its best when it is all of those things, when it is somewhat funny, when it's really jarringly violent, when it's, very dramatic. And so both iterations will have those things to varying degrees. But you'll see a very cool difference, and hopefully they'll work in tandem in a cool way, the same way that Walking Dead, has a very cool video game series and cool comics and novels and a television show. So hopefully it'll be kind of like that.
Great. Thank you. Look forward to them.
Thank you.
So that kind of led to my question. So
oh, good.
You see, excited for the platform gaming. So that's good to get on platform gaming. Are we going to see Invincible or other Skybound properties get onto some platform gaming?
You have a cagey answer for that?
I think the approach really with any of the properties that we have is, does it make sense? And if it makes sense, and if we speak to creators that can come up with something really interesting that we get excited about, then sure, absolutely. But it really does have to fit the platform that we're going for. And if we can find something that we get really, really excited about and think this is going to be super cool, then yeah, absolutely we'll do it. And we're kind of always going through that process of talking to creators who are specialists in their field and saying, what could you do with this? And does the team that's going to develop the game, are they fans? Do they understand it? Those things are super important to us. So marrying kind of a great story with a great team is always, can create interesting stuff, but it really has to fit together well.
So we've been really excited to have, like Thief of Thieves is a great one of Robert's creations, to get that out there in the world of gaming as well. But we're definitely looking at a series of the other comics that we're working on, saying, hey, which of these sort of has an opportunity to sort of be a great game, and not just sort of, again, that we want to make sure that we're doing something unique, doing something special, so that they're saying, okay, this fits that, right? So we started with Telltale and The Walking Dead because it was like that really embodied the narrative choices that people face in the comics. So we're like, okay, how can we take something like Oblivion Song and make the best opportunity there? Or how can we take something like Murder Falcon? Can you say it for me?
Murder Falcon.
Thank you. If we say, how can we find a way to do the best things with all the different comics that we have? And so if we can't find a good one, we're not going to do it.
I can say this as kind of the new person in the group. A lot of other media companies, they will sit down and there'll be a directive of we need to have a game here and we need to have a TV show. We do it completely the other way around. We do it much more organically. We do it, if we, again, I keep going back to that, if we think it's cool, great, we'll do it. But it has to really...
It has to inspire passion with all of our
Absolutely,
teams, right?
yeah.
We all get in a room, all the different divisions and team members, and if the passion comes out, depending on what the content extension may be, that's where we go. But it's not sitting down and putting down exactly scheduling out what has to happen. It needs to come from passion and possibility.
Invincible game would be badass.
Yeah.
We completely agree, but again, it's got to be right.
Yeah.
If you just start and say we're going to make an Invincible video game, you have to have something a lot more than that to be able to work with. And then again, it has to be something that Robert gets excited about because he's going to have a huge amount of input in making that thing come to life.
It has to be the greatest superhero video game of all time.
Yeah, or it could just be a Mario game that they skinned Mario and made him look like Invincible. Then I would love it.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
Can I ask another question?
Invincible Odyssey coming to the Switch.
If you could cross over Invincible and Walking Dead with any other universe whatsoever, what would you choose?
Transformers.
And no jetpack baby. That was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, jetpack babies. Yeah, that was a good callback to the panel that no one else was at. Yeah, no, definitely Transformers. I love Transformers. Or Destiny or something. I don't know. We'll see. Summoner's War. There's a lot of options.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing, because I admire you guys, about that passion thing. I feel like that's the one formula that everyone has found works in like comic books. I think every successful comic book movie was because the people making it was passionate about it. Whenever someone picks it up and puts a dark filter on it, it doesn't seem to work. So I think you guys are doing great things, and I think I want to thank you all for coming and for you for answering all the questions, and I think that'll be it for us. So thanks, everyone. Give it up for the Skybound team. And go watch Outcast tonight.